Welcome to Smart Spiritual Solutions. In this channel, we use the scriptures to solve everyday problems and improve our overall lifestyle. The advice for today's video is going to be about how we should never play the devil's advocate. Playing the devil's advocate in the context of the scriptures is basically supporting what God Almighty doesn't like. That is, we see something in the scriptures that God Almighty doesn't like, but maybe the society likes it, or the government likes it, and then we go and support it, right? Let me give you a few examples of how that really works in real life. If you look at the story in Numbers chapter 13, verses 27 to 33, you can see that there were two spies, Joshua and Caleb, who had searched out the land and gave a good report of it, which was supporting God Almighty's plan to take them to that land. But the 10 spies played the devil's advocate by giving an evil report about that land, by saying that the giants were huge and they were intimidating and they were going to destroy them if they were to enter that land, and then that created a riot among the children of Israel. If you also look at for Samuel chapter 15, verses 13 to 23, we can see that Saul had refused to obey the commandments of the Lord by saving some of the Amalekites, that is their king, and even some of their cattle. But where he really played the devil's advocate was when Samuel told him that you did not obey the commandment of the Lord when he had heard all the sheep and stuff, then Saul told him, "Nay, I have obeyed the commandment of the Lord, and I spared King Agag, and I saved the best of the cattle," and so on. So he not only sinned against God, but he also believed that what he had done was correct and was insisting to Samuel that he had done what God Almighty wanted. So he was playing the devil's advocate. He was supporting the other side, the side of disobedience and rebellion. A final example is in Acts chapter 13, verses 6 to 12. In that account, we can see that an evildoer, Elymas the sorcerer, did not want Sergius Paulus to hear the gospel of Paul. And so he was working to make sure that Sergius Paulus would not hear the gospel. And then when Paul was watching him perform his sinister deeds, he told him, "O full of all subtlety, of all mischief, thou child of the devil, thou enemy of all righteousness, when wilt thou cease to pervert the right ways of the Lord?" And then Elymas the sorcerer became blind for a season because of what he did, playing the devil's advocate, supporting the side that goes against God Almighty. So the general point I want to make in this video is the fact that when we understand what God Almighty likes and what he doesn't like, we shouldn't go support what he doesn't like. No, we should stand for what he likes. We should stand for his interests, the way Joshua and Caleb were. After they saw that the Israelites were becoming discouraged about going to the land, they quickly went to them and said, "No, don't be discouraged. Believe in God Almighty. He will bring us to the land if we obey him," and so on. If you read Numbers chapter 14, verses 6 to 9. If you also look at 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 8, we can see that after Asa, that is King Asa, had heard Oded the prophet talk about how if you obey God, he will be with you, but if you forsake God, he will forsake you, and related advice, then he was encouraged. He became courageous. And then he forsook all the idols that were being worshipped in the land, and he made sure that people did the will of God. We have to have such courage to stand for God's interests. As King Solomon said, "The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion," according to Proverbs chapter 28, verse 1. So I think this will suffice for describing how we should never play the devil's advocate. Rather, we should stand for God's interests and make sure that Satan the devil is shaped by our actions and by our words in whatever way we can. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when we come back with another Smart Spiritual Solutions video. As always, have a great day, and God bless you.